I have a quick question for you. Are you struggling to lose body fat and tone up? Do you feel like you've tried every diet under the sun and nothing seems to work? Or if you do get any results with these diets, you just seem to gain the weight back again. Are you fed up with restrictive, low-calorie, clean-eating style diets that leave you feeling hungry, unsatisfied, and tired? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you're going to want to hear my client Susan's story, and you're going to want to watch this video till the end. Susan reached out to me a few years ago and she was depressed, tired, miserable and overwhelmed. Now Susan had tried everything to lose weight, and I mean everything. She tried Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Juice Plus, Herbalife, P90X. She tried the Body Coach. Nothing seemed to work. She tried Zumba and other classes, 21-day detoxes. She tried the low carb approach. She tried other personal trainers, but she still could not shift the weight. If anything, Susan had actually gained weight despite trying all these different methods. The wobble around her midsection had actually gotten worse. It shook when she walked, it sagged when she stood up, and she actually had to buy clothes 2 sizes too big just to hide everything underneath her clothes. And worst of all, she got out of breath just walking up and down stairs. It wasn't just the physical effects either. Knowing she was overweight, seriously unhealthy, and heading to an early grave was one thing, but what hurt more was the mental anguish. Susan was at a crossroads. On one hand, she knew she needed to change. She didn't want to be the tubby woman who walks around self-conscious all the time, who gets embarrassed in front of her spouse and kids, who avoids having photos taken of her and is just reluctant to be out in public. She even gets ashamed getting changed in front of her spouse. She knew she had to change to lose weight, but she just didn't know how. All her friends could lose weight at a click of their fingers, and the models in the magazines said it was to do with their cardio routines, clean diets, and fat-burning pills. She tried those and none of them worked. In her mind, her body was different, and she thought she was stuck with her ugly, stubborn fat forever. Before I carry on, does any of this sound familiar? She was fed up, trying to eat clean, eating out of Tupperware containers, missing social events, cutting out chocolate crisps, alcohol, because she thought that you had to do all those things to lose weight. But she didn't lose any weight, even though she thought she was doing everything right by cutting out these so-called bad foods. She felt anxious going to social events because she didn't know what foods would be there. She thought if she had any processed food or any of these so-called bad foods, that she wouldn't be able to lose any weight. Let me ask you a question. Have you tried everything with little to no reward for all your effort? Does all the conventional advice leave you miserable, hungry and exhausted, but no lighter or with no visible changes? If so, I urge you to watch the rest of this video because Susan's shocking discovery is going to help you out a ton. When Susan reached out to me, I could tell she was nervous. It can be daunting to reach out to a trainer. Susan explained her struggles to me and it all sounded all too familiar. I said to Susan, I understand and I appreciate you think you've tried everything and nothing will work. But I can promise you we can make a difference together. I'm not going to promise you're going to lose 20 pounds in 1 week or your ideal body in 1 week because approaches like that just don't work. Extreme diets just lead to hunger and misery and you're just going to gain the weight back anyway. I said to Susan, I want you to enjoy the process and not feel like you're dieting. Susan wanted to be able to look herself in the mirror and be proud of herself once again. She wanted her husband to desire her once again. She didn't want to keep hiding from him when she was getting changed. She wanted her kids to be proud of her. And my methods are, some will say, unconventional. I said to Susan, I'm going to get you eating more food than you thought possible in the diet, and I'm also going to get you doing barely any cardio at all. As you can imagine, Susan was skeptical, and then I showed Susan some of my results. Here's some of my client case studies. And that's when I introduced Susan to my unique metabolic 80-20 eating system. Now let me explain to you that you've been lied to about clean eating and how all you need to do is just focus on healthy foods and you're going to lose weight. It just simply is not true. Now, if you're watching this video, I bet you've tried that before and it didn't work. Or if it did work, it only worked for a short period of time, then your results just stopped. And there's actually a very good reason for that. I'm going to explain more in a second. I need to understand that the key to fat loss is creating a calorie deficit, making sure you're burning more calories than you're consuming. Now I get it, you've probably heard that a million times before, but what you probably haven't heard is if you're eating chocolate, wine, pizza, cake, and you're still creating a calorie deficit, you're still gonna lose body fat and tone up. One thing that's so important for you to realize is even if you're eating lots of healthy foods, lots of quote unquote clean foods, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you don't want to lose any body fat whatsoever. Let me repeat that again. It doesn't matter how healthy the foods you're eating are, how clean they are. If you're not creating that calorie deficit, you're not going to lose any body fat whatsoever. Let that just sink in for a second. If you're eating chocolate, crisps, cake, pizza, it doesn't really matter what food it is. If you're having alcohol, if you're creating a calorie deficit, you will still lose body fat, you will still lose weight, even if you're eating those foods or drinking alcohol. Now, I'm not saying for a second that your whole diet should be composed of these foods. However, you can still have them in the right amounts. As long as you're creating the calorie deficit, you will lose body fat. And that's where my unique metabolic 80-20 eating system was born. Now, I appreciate you're going to be skeptical about how this metabolic 80-20 eating system works and how you can actually have some of your favorite foods and lose body fat. Well, I want to share with you what some of my clients have said about the metabolic 80-20 eating system. What my client Brian said about the metabolic 80-20 eating system. No foods were off limits as long as they fitted in with my macronutrient targets. Believe it or not, during the 22-week cutting phase, I'd been out for dinner numerous times, been to a wedding, and yes, I drank alcohol too. And James is able to teach me how to enjoy these life events while staying on track to achieve my goals. Barry said it wasn't too restrictive and let you choose what to eat that day as long as it fits in within your macros, and you can see from the results it works. Sarah said the nutrition advice was second to none. I even had chocolate wine on the plan and still lost weight. Josh said not having to sacrifice going out for a meal because it was not part of the plan is also one of my favourite aspects of the plan. Now, despite what my client said and my client results, I appreciate you still might be skeptical about this style of eating system. So I want to share with you what a couple of experts in the industry have said about this style of eating. Here's what Alan Aragon has said about cutting out processed foods. So Alan is arguably one of the top nutritionists in the world, if not the top nutritionist in the world. And you'll see below his image some of the publications he's been featured in: Men's Health, Bodybuilding.com, PubMed, various other publications. And he basically is analysing a couple of studies here. And he said Smith and colleagues, which is one of the studies, found that flexible dieting was associated with an absence of overeating, lower body weight, the absence of depression, anxiety. They also found that a strict all or nothing approach to dieting was associated with overeating and increased body weight. Similarly, Stewart and colleagues, another study, found that rigid dieting was associated with symptoms of eating disorder, mood disturbances, and anxiety. Flexible dieting was not highly correlated with these qualities. Now, next we've got James Smith. So James is basically an online fitness celebrity now. You've probably seen James before if you're living in the UK. And he basically said, try not to do elimination dieting such as no pizza, no chocolate, no sweets. Try incorporation dieting such as hitting your calories, protein target, maybe hitting a fiber content, hitting a certain amount of water to drink. In other words, you don't need to be cutting out your favorite foods to achieve your fat loss goals. It's just not sustainable if you just cut out your favorite foods. Finally, we've got another quote from Alan Aragon. For those hoping that I'll tell you that have fun eating whatever you want, you're in luck. As a matter of fact, the research I've discussed points to the possibility that it's more psychologically sound to allow a certain amount of flexibility for indulgences rather than none at all. And just to reiterate, process does not always mean devoid of nutritional value. end result is the diet is just easier to stick to because you're not having the same cravings like you would do on a normal diet, because you're still having food you enjoy. As such, it's just more sustainable, this approach. Additionally, if you're going through the menopause, this system will still work for you. Now, there's something else unique about the metabolic 80-20 eating system. Have you ever followed a diet or exercise program, seen some results, and then your results just stopped out of nowhere and you just did not know what to do? Now, it's important to note that those plateaus, whether your weight stores, your body fat percentage stores, those plateaus are actually normal, and the real key is just understanding what to do to manipulate your nutrition or training so you bust through that plateau, so you continue creating that calorie deficit needed for fat loss. And that's another unique component of the metabolic 80-20 eating system, is realizing that your nutrition, your calories, they're not static, they need to be manipulated subject to your progress. It's not just a case of set and forget to have your nutrition, your calories laid out, and then you just stay on those calories throughout the whole fat loss phase. It just simply isn't the case. Those figures need to be manipulated subject to your progress. Now, after my client Susan implemented the metabolic 80-20 eating system, this is some of the benefits she achieved. She could actually lose body fat effortlessly. She could actually achieve her dream body because she had a system in place where whenever she reached any of those plateaus we've spoken about, the nutrition was manipulated, it was edited, those calories were changed, so we continue creating that calorie deficit needed for fat loss. And it was ever changing throughout the fat loss phase. In addition to that, she could still have some of her favorite foods. She could still have biscuits, crisps, wine. She could go out on social events, because ultimately, as long as you're still creating that calorie deficit, you can still have those foods. Again, I'm not saying the whole diet is filled with those foods, but you can still have those foods in the right amounts as long as you're creating that calorie deficit. She didn't have to eat out of Tupperware containers anymore. She felt more confident. She was desired once again by her husband. Her children were proud of her. She stopped feeling self-conscious when she was out in restaurants or out and about in public. She no longer had to wear baggy clothes. She had more energy. She was getting more compliments from her friends and family asking how she was losing all this weight. She could be proud of herself when she looked herself in the mirror. Before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. My name's James Layton. I've been working in the fitness industry for almost a decade now, and I've helped hundreds of clients just like you lose weight, tone up without giving up their favorite foods. You've already seen some of my client testimonial before and after photos. I'd suggest looking down at the bottom of this page for some more client testimonial videos as well, just to see the results of what can be achieved via this system. Additionally, I've also had my podcast as the #1 podcast in the world within the new and noteworthy section on iTunes. You'll see a screenshot here and on my page. Now, I have something very special to share with you. I've basically created something called the Female Elite Body Transformation Program, and it has in it included that metabolic 80-20 nutrition system that we've spoken about earlier. It also has a metabolic female specific training component as well. Now, this is a program completely bespoke to women, for women who want to lose weight, tone up, feel better about themselves without giving up their favorite foods, without giving up chocolate, wine, pizza, crisps, whatever your favorite foods are, without giving up social events, having meals out, etc. You can still do all those things and achieve your fat loss goals. So once again, you're going to get access to that completely unique metabolic 80-20 eating system we spoke about earlier. Now, are you following a generic training program online? Let me tell you now, you're leaving gains on the table, because pretty much all training programs are bespoke to men. They're not bespoke to women. And therefore, you're not having the most optimal program possible to get you the best results possible, because it's tailored for men and not women. And you're going to get access to this metabolic female specific training program bespoke to you, bespoke to your goals, bespoke to the equipment you've got available within the Female Elite Body Transformation Program. Now, the Female Elite Body Transformation Program is a completely bespoke online program, so it doesn't matter where you're living in the world, you can work with me. Now, I appreciate you still might be skeptical about what the Female Elite Body Transformation Program can do for you. Therefore, I want you to listen to one of my clients, Melinda, and what the program did to her physique.
Definitely the best decision I've made. We've been through 2 fat loss phases and 1 muscle building phase. My physique has completely changed. I'm so pleased with it. James is so knowledgeable, he knows his stuff so well.
Now, some of the benefits of the Female Elite Body Transformation Program are you're going to be able to enjoy meals out with friends and family while still achieving your fat loss goals. You can enjoy social events, you can have alcohol, you can have meals out and still achieve your goals. You're going to have me make those all-important changes to your nutrition and training when you reach those fat loss plateaus we've spoken about. So remember, we spoke about earlier how it's normal for you to reach those fat loss plateaus. Well, I'm going to be personally making those changes to your nutrition and training using the metabolic 80-20 eating system, using the metabolic female specific training component to boss you through those fat loss plateaus. You're going to be able to ask me questions at any point. I'm going to be your coach in your corner, guiding you from where you are now to where you want to get to. Now, rather than me just say about the levels of accountability and support within the Female Elite Body Transformation Program, rather you listen to what one of my clients has to say about the level of support and accountability. Here's my client, Caroline. Let's have a watch to hear what she has to say.
You could tell from the onset, he knew exactly what he was talking about. He was very knowledgeable. But throughout the whole process, he was so supportive. And just if you feel like giving up, he was always there behind you. He was never ever negative. So if you had a bad week, he'd always pick you back up and give you some positivity.
You're not going to feel stressed about not knowing what to do with your nutrition and training. You're actually going to have someone take all the guesswork out of the equation. All you have to do is just follow the simple system. I'm going to be able to personally pick you up if you ever get off the wagon and have a bad day or a bad week. I'm going to be able to pick you up, motivate you, and get you going in the right direction once again. I'm going to keep you accountable as well. Accountability is one of the missing ingredients for a lot of people trying to lose body fat. If you're not accountable to anyone, it's that much more difficult to get great results. Accountability is such an important factor. If you're fed up, struggling to lose fat, struggling to lose weight, struggling to tone up, and you're fed up of eating just boring, bland foods, eating out of Tupperware containers, you're fed up with missing social events, missing meals out because you're quote unquote on a diet, then the Female Elite Body Transformation Program is just for you. So all you need to do is click one of the buttons on this page. If you scroll down this page, you'll see one of these buttons where you can fill in a very short application form. I will then respond once you've completed the application form via email, and then we can arrange a time to get on the phone so we can discuss your goals in more detail. We can explain exactly how the Female Elite Body Transformation Program works and how I can more specifically get you from where you are now to your fat loss goals, exactly what you want to achieve. So there's absolutely no risk to this call as well. It's a completely free call to discuss your goals in more detail, to explain the Female Elite Body Transformation Program in more detail. And at the end of the call, if I think you're a good fit for the program, I'll offer you a chance to join the paid program. But the actual call is completely free. There's no risk for the call at all. Now, something important to note is this page is not going to be around for much longer. I obviously have a cap. There's only so many people I can work with at one point. So as soon as I've reached full capacity, I'll be taking down this page. At the moment, you're at a crossroads. You're stuck. You're trying to lose body fat and you're struggling. If nothing changes, if you don't change your approach, you're going to be exactly in the same position in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, feeling sluggish, feeling tired, having no energy, having no confidence, embarrassed to get changed in front of your partner. That's still going to be the same. But let me ask you a quick question. How would it actually feel to go out with your friends and to put on that dress that you've always wanted to wear that fits perfectly? How would it feel to feel sexy, confident, to have other people turning their heads and looking at you, to have your friends envious, and to have your spouse's jaw drop when you walk in the room, to actually be able to enjoy social events, meals out, knowing that you've got a system in place for you to continue losing body fat without giving up those meals out or social events, or without giving up your favorite foods. So you've seen the results, and this just works. This system works. So all you need to do is click one of the buttons on this page, as mentioned, fill out that small application form, and then we'll arrange a time to talk on the phone, discuss your goals in more detail, explain the Female Elite Body Transformation Program in more detail as well, see if you're a good fit for the program. Remember, there's absolutely no risk on your part. If we get on the phone, talk to each other and it's not a good fit for you, that's absolutely fine. There's no risk. You're not tied into anything if you decide not to go ahead with the Female Elite Body Transformation Program. Now, I appreciate you still might be skeptical about working with someone online, someone you've never met before, and I completely get it. I completely understand. Therefore, I want you to listen to one of my clients, Ben, who has worked with me within one of my other online programs. Let's have a listen and hear what he has to say, because he was in the exact same position as you. He was skeptical about working with someone online and didn't really understand how it was going to work. And here's what he had to say.
And I came across James's website, and I got to be honest, I was pretty skeptical. Online, someone I've never met, never spoken to, whose credentials could have been questionable. But I thought, you know what, let's investigate a bit more. I thought, let's give this a go and see what happens. And I think that was probably about 3 years ago. And the changes I've seen in my shape, my mindset, my attitude, my general well-being is incredible. And I'm 44 now and I feel 34. And I'm really pleased with what James has done for me. I've learned so much and it's been incredible. And actually I could probably break away, and you know, I've got enough knowledge to do a lot of this stuff by myself now, but because he's been super good and super consistent, and the trust is there, I would say to anyone who is considering giving this a go, but is also serious about wanting to do something for themselves, then get in touch with James, let him share with you what he can do, and I guarantee in a pretty short space of time, providing you do what he tells you to do, and commit yourself, and a bit of hard work, you can do what you want to. I'll leave it there. Wish you a lot of luck. Get in touch with James. Really good. Highly recommended. See ya.
So once again, you've got two options. You've got the option to continue to struggle on your own or to get help. So all you need to do, click the button on this page, fill out the application form, or arrange a time to talk on the phone. Once again, this page is getting taken down very soon, so make sure to act now. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'm looking forward to discuss your goals in more detail.